President Biden is criticizing the U.S. Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. KTLA's Eric Spillman live in the newsroom with the story for us. Eric, good morning.
Good morning, Frank. After last week's debate performance, the president is trying to persuade voters that he's still capable of doing the job. In a speech from the White House, he said the Supreme Court decision undermines the rule of law in this country, and he argued that it's another reason to vote for him.
Today's decision almost certainly means that there are virtually no limits on what a president can do. This is a fundamentally new principle, and it's a dangerous precedent.
Biden warned that the Supreme Court ruling would give Donald Trump way too much power if Trump is reelected in November. The decision by the court's conservative majority gives presidents and former presidents broad immunity from criminal prosecution. It means that Donald Trump will not be tried anytime soon on federal charges that he tried to overturn Biden's victory in 2020. It's not likely to happen before this November, and maybe not ever. Biden asked Americans to think carefully about their vote. He said, "It's now up to the American people to do what the courts should have been willing to do, but will not. And that is render judgment on Donald Trump's behavior on January the 6th, when the U.S. Capitol came under attack." Biden says voters need to decide if Trump's embrace of violence that day to preserve his power is acceptable.
The American people must decide if they want to entrust the president once again the presidency to Donald Trump, now knowing he'll be even more emboldened to do whatever he pleases whenever he wants to do it.
Mr. President, will you drop out of the race? Will you drop out of the race, Mr. President?
Why are you the best Democrat to beat Trump?
What makes you so confident you should be the president?
The president didn't answer questions from reporters about whether he's thought of dropping out. He made no mention of last week's debate performance, in which he sometimes struggled for words and lost his train of thought. Over the weekend, the president's family encouraged him not to give up. The Associated Press reports Biden campaign advisors are looking for more substantial polling to come back to see how bad the damage might be before changing course. According to the Associated Press, the campaign may have Biden do more town hall events or media interviews to reassure the public that the debate was just a bad night. Still, some top Democrats are wondering if there's any way for Biden to rebound. Watch this exchange on CNN, where a Democratic lawmaker openly discusses the possibility that Biden might quit.
His decision not only impacts who's going to serve in the White House the next 4 years, but who's going to serve in the Senate, who's going to serve in the House, and it will have implications for decades to come.
It sounds like you're actually open to the idea that it might be the right decision for him to step aside.
I think what I'm stressing is it has to be his decision, but we have to be honest with ourselves that it wasn't just a horrible night.
Meanwhile, former President Trump calls the Supreme Court decision a big win for him. His lawyers are now using it to try and get his recent conviction in New York thrown out. They've written a letter to the judge in the hush money trial, the one in which Trump was found guilty of 34 felonies. They're arguing that prosecutors built their case against Trump partly on evidence from his time in the White House. And under the Supreme Court's ruling, prosecutors cannot use evidence involving a president's official acts to back up other accusations. Trump is due to be sentenced in New York on July the 11th. His lawyers are now asking the judge there to delay that hearing. Jessica?